Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the MC Lars podcast. It is Monday, November 11th, 2019. This is episode 63. I just got back from Pomona, California, which is near Los Angeles, and I played this event called Player Omega, which is a festival. It was the first one, and they're trying to make it like the Vans Warped Tour of gaming. And so I played with Kyle from Kirby Crackle, Nerf Herder, I Fight Dragons, a lot of great acts. And as you know, Kyle from Kirby Crackle and Perry from Nerf Herder were MC Lars podcast guests. So I got to pick some of the artists, and it was awesome. So thank you to Kevin Lyman for that wonderful event. I am back home, and this week I am talking to a man who many of you may have heard of on the internet, a very silly, prolific, but brilliant artist, Rappy McRapperson. So I learned in this interview a lot of things. Like, I like doing serious interviews with people who kind of do silly music or silly stuff because it kind of gets behind the shield of comedy and who they are as people. I try to ask like really serious questions. And I think Rappy was very open with me and serious. And it was a cool interview. I learned that he did the original Captain Underpants theme for the multimedia element of the books back in the day. I learned that he produced some of Wing's last records, the woman who was a guest on South Park, like who sings kind of very uniquely, and she made albums. And I learned that we were both on the same label, Oleo. I learned a lot of other stuff, how Rappy samples Russian music now, and how he's changing his style, and how he balances his day job as an engineer with his music. So this is my interview with Rappy McRapperson. He's got some crazy stuff, some stuff maybe you don't want to play for your parents that's online, some stuff that maybe you do. Maybe your parents like hilarious, weird, inappropriate comedy. But Rappy's definitely one of a freaking kind, and he's a really cool dude. So I was glad to have him on the show. This is my interview with Rappy McRapperson right here on the MC Lars podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with one of the best gems on the internet, one of the most creative people I know, a man who's been making music for years, Rappy McRapperson. Oh!
Heyo! Lars?
What's up, buddy?
I have an announcement to make on your podcast.
Oh, what's up?
So, MC Lars, this is my announcement. I'm going on tour, and I'm starting a tomato soup business.
Both those things you're doing?
Yeah, at the same time.
Okay, so start with the tomato soup. Let's talk about that.
So all the tomatoes that people throw at me when they see me live, I make a soup out of them.
Okay. And so it goes hand in hand.
Yes.
Is this your first tour?
No, I'm not really going on tour.
I was like, oh, that's great timing. You are one of those guys you've been doing this so long. Like, what was the birth of Rappy McRapperson?
Honestly, it was my, I would say just my own quest for glory. I wanted to be a famous artist and a famous comedian. And it's just a rotten, stinking quest for glory.
So what year are we talking?
1999, I would say. I started recording, and it was a lot of fun. 1999. Computers are out, and audio equipment's coming out.
And you can make your own like home recording sound good. And
Right. Or if you're a dummy like me, you have your little brother do it for you.
Your brother helped produce some of your stuff?
Oh, yeah. All my stuff, like super early stuff, my brother helped produce it, yeah.
What I really like about your stuff is the melodies in the chorus.
Yes.
And your beats are they're not just like stock canned beats.
No,
Do you write the music?
So I'm pretty dumb technologically, so I would rely on very talented and smart people. What I could do is think of a tune, and I'd tell it to my friend Ben, and Benjamin was we worked on this program called Impulse Tracker. There's a DOS program, so it would just the music, it would just come down like rain, like on that program, Impulse Tracker. It later became, I think, Schism Tracker. It was just these DOS-based beats, and it was just, the beat-making process was mind-blowing for me. And I just was soaking it in. I didn't offer much except for, the tune. And then I'd say, oh, the steel drums are good. And then Ben would say, no, the steel drums are dumb. How about the quack sound? I said, yes, the quack sound. Awesome. A collaboration.
You'd sing the melody sometimes.
Sometimes. And sometimes Ben had the melody down pat. I mean, he had some really wonderful melodies, and we'd just layer it up and have different tracks going, and it was a lot of fun.
So were you like hosting your stuff on Napster and stuff and mp3.com and those early sites?
My brother helped me get a bunch of stuff on Napster. The big hit when it first came out was the I'm a Gangster song.
Yeah.
The silly little song that came out, and it was a big old thing. And everyone on Napster was sharing it and all that.
It's like one of the first viral comedy rap songs online.
It went viral. And then followed by the fanny pack and fish sticks.
When did you get involved with Rhyme Torrents?
You know what? I don't know. I just remember I was on a Rhyme Torrent, and then I think it was, I forget the gentleman's name, I'm sorry, but he hit me up, or I hit him up. I honestly, I can't remember. And I started, I made maybe a few songs for them. And
that's where I think a lot of people listening to this podcast maybe first discovered you, because that was such a big platform. Do you feel like you have hardcore people who've been following you from the beginning?
Yeah, a few of them, they start to not like me. Maybe I didn't say the right thing, or maybe I'm really boring, or maybe I'm a jerk. And then they stop hitting me up. But a few of them, we chit chat, and a few of them collect data for me and then compile stuff for me. And yeah, I keep in touch with a few folks, and I always note who's hitting me up, and a lot of people have been hitting me up for many years.
You made your social security number public in one of your choruses.
Yeah. I certainly did.
What was the thought behind that? What was that
I don't
idea
know.
like?
Lars, I just was trying to fight the man. And I think my fight is backfiring. It backfired. It came to me later that I probably shouldn't have done that. But it's a little too late now. Anyways, I don't know what else to say about that.
All of your concepts are always, a Rappy McRapperson song because no one else would do those concepts. Yeah. And there's a feel to your verses, which I love, which is so refreshing, which I don't know if you're freestyling or if you wrote it down, but I can always tell you're so surprised and excited to be recording.
That's a trip. Thank you, Lars. Yeah. For instance, when you mentioned oddball song themes, I have a song called Me and My Grandma Went to Prison Together. And then the hook is best friends forever. It just makes no sense. And it's just one of these silly songs. And I'm not good at freestyling. It becomes a comedy of errors. And so I do like the writing process. Sometimes I'll have it written down. I'll kind of go off script a tiny bit,
or this is your Mims parody. This is why I'm cold.
This is why I'm cold. That was with Steve, the bomb, and the bomb went to heaven. So I always think of just how special he was. And, yeah, and I think about how special he was and how special our recordings were, and yeah. I'd look back fondly on my work with Steve, a.k.a. the Bomb Father.
Wow. How old was he?
He was 29 years old when he passed away.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
It happens. Steve was a bright star, and he had many an issue, and he was in much pain. So when he left the world, it was all good. And we hope and pray that Steve's in a better place. Steve is in a better place, gosh darn it. So, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your life. Where did you grow up, and where are some of the places you've spent your time?
Lars, I was born in Los Angeles, California. And my mother was a secretary for various law firms. And my father was a cab driver, and he changed to limo driver. And he changed to a business owner. He owned a limo business. Limousine service driving in Los Angeles. And when I was 10 years old, my family up and moved to Seattle, Washington. When I was 18, I started moving around a bit and just dinking around, and just followed my recordings and just wandered around. And yeah, I wandered around a bunch of different places and got really sick and tired of that. Really sick and tired of that. And I started planting some roots here. And I'm in the Pacific Northwest, not in Seattle, but I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and just live a very stable and boring routine, a life of routine and peace, and I love it.
So you were kind of like Jack Kerouac, on the road.
Yeah, Jack Kerouac with a head injury.
Because I remember you lived on the Big Island of Hawaii, right?
Yes.
How long were you down there?
Like every good haole guy, I was on the Big Island for a year and a half.
What made you decide, I'm going to move to Hawaii?
I wanted to get away from the music industry. It was so heartbreaking for me. So
oh, man.
No, it's fine, but I wanted to get away from the music industry and how it wasn't vibing with me at the time. And I was very hurt by some bad music deals that I made, and just stupidity on my part and a lack of sense on my part. And I just wanted to just forget it all. And what better place to do that than in a beautiful jungle setting?
In a place that's like the least touristy of all the islands,
yeah,
right?
I like Big Island, yes. It is very peaceful island.
What part of the island were you living?
Hilo side Puna. Yeah, Puna, just a bumming around.
Were you recording out there, or had you taken a break?
Both of it. I took a little bit of a break. Then I met some recording artists, and we proceeded to record, as recording artists often do.
Is that when you moved back to the Pacific Northwest after that?
I was in Alaska for a bit working. I was working at a fish processing center, processing salmon.
Where in Alaska?
Juneau.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
You've been all over the extremes of the country.
I don't recommend it. It's a pain in the butt.
Juneau rains a lot, right?
Yeah, it's very rainy. It's very nice. I was in Indiana for a bit. I was in Indiana doing home remodel stuff. It's kind of being a bum, honestly. I wouldn't recommend it. And then I finally got some sense kicked into me, and I finally was tired of just working these bad jobs, and I went back to school for HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And then started working parallel to the industry about 4 years ago, and I haven't looked back since. You
were telling me like kind of about your job, and it sounds very interesting, and it sounds very like you have a lot of responsibility.
I just go to work and make sure line is working, processing product, and just make sure the machines are working correctly and the product is being processed correctly. And there's a lot of opportunities, or maybe if anyone's listening who doesn't know what they want to do yet with their lives, I would suggest going to school to learn a trade and following that path.
Do you find that you still want to make music?
Oh, sure. I make music all the time. I haven't stopped. I just find a weekend day, and usually on the weekend, or usually I'll spend my leisure hours writing a song. If it jumps in my head, I'll play with it, and I have a lot of leisure time too. I spend it with my family and my friends.
A lot of your stuff is, I'm sure people know, it's very funny and very silly, and very shocking in a way that's like makes you laugh a lot, like in the way that Wesley Willis would kind of like surprise you with just the most raw visions.
Yeah.
And how do you feel like your newer stuff compares to I'm a Gangster and some of your older stuff? Is it still silly and stuff, or are you more serious?
Completely different. It's funny, but on a totally different level. I would say it has no jokes. It's just maybe spiritually funny. Well, I do a theme, so I've been doing these Russian girls. They'll sing the chorus, and I'll sample them. And I've got a lot of different samples of them singing different choruses, and I'll insert that into my song. And that's the last 5 or 6 songs I've been making have that theme to it. Yeah.
More relatable.
Oh, yeah. That is a timeless theme. The battle between heaven and hell is a timeless theme.
Would you consider yourself a religious person?
Yes. Heck yes.
Where's your favorite platform to put music out on?
Just YouTube. And that's not my favorite platform. That's like I'm optionless, because I haven't been putting any work into getting my music out there. which is a disservice for me. So I just slap it on YouTube and forget about it. I just slap it on YouTube right now. That's what I've been doing for the last few years.
So the stuff that's on Spotify and stuff, is that through an old label or something?
Yeah, that was Oleo Records. I know you worked with them, Lars. Spotify, yeah, all my stuff on Spotify. That's Carl. Carl did that. I sold him the music to that. I want to go back to Hawaii again.
Yeah, man, it's just interesting how the hard part is creating ideas and creating the melodies and creating the story.
Yeah.
And now the internet gives us all access to our audiences, right?
Right.
And it just becomes a matter of like finding a way to maximize that platform,
right?
And make it so you don't even have to think about it, right? That you just put stuff out,
right?
So Florida has been a inspiring place for you.
I would say so. Yes, it was.
When Nerdapalooza was a thing, It was such a physical place where we'd all get together every year.
Yeah.
How many of those did you go to?
I think I went to 2. I lived in Florida for maybe a year or 2, and I was just making music. And I don't like performing because, like, I don't know, I feel like I'm doing a parody of a guy doing a performance, and then I go into what's called a parody loop, where I nearly spontaneously combust. And I'm not a good performer. I like the quietness and the peace and the control of my own little world, my own little studio.
So your career is kind of like the Beatles in that they used to play a lot and then they became a studio project. How did you connect with Wing?
I just hit her up. I hit her up, and then I helped finance the albums. So that was the enticement there. So I paid for her studio time when she was in New Zealand, and we went halvesies on the sales of the album, and I broke even every time. My support for Wing, my work for that album was more of a producer and like almost because Wing was a character, and she is her own worst enemy sometimes in regards to the production, music production. So she would always overthink things, and I'd try to be, just give her a pep talk here and there, and then funding the album. And if we did original songs, I'd write some of her music. And for instance, "Safe Party, Happy Ending" was a beautiful song that we wrote together, and another good song that we wrote about Fido Doggy and me, and Wing singing it, and Wing's just a character. And she's retired. Wing is retired. Yeah, we produced 5 albums together. It's incredible. Yeah, we produced 5 albums together.
I just want to ask you, do you feel pressure from the world that being funny and being inappropriate is now something that you're not allowed to do?
Oh, I don't care. You say whatever you want. I've been called mean things. For instance, maybe when I first started working as a working man, maybe I did a few things wrong, like I wired a motor wrong. And I think there's a lot of music in the music industry, especially the stuff getting pushed. It's very evil, and it's designed to destroy people's souls.
Tell me more about that.
Sure. All the junk, all the junk. They push junk so people forget their souls and they hate themselves. And it's demoralizing. It's a demoralization campaign, and it's designed to target young women, and young men, designed to destroy their souls. And it's a very, in my opinion, and what do I know? But I think there's a very evil thing that's been going on for a very long time, designed to hurt people so they can be like slaves, and they can be just gelatinous blobs and just be dumb butts, and so they don't question authority, or they just pretend to question authority, or they get kind of thrown around for loops and get confused. So, but the point is that they're weak, and that they stay as weak as possible. And so that part of the industry, the psychological subversion part of the industry, I don't like that part. It freaks me out, and it makes me mad, and I think a lot of people need to say they're sorry, and they never will.
So you're talking about like kind of like stuff that has like an occult vibe to it musically?
For instance, we just mentioned Billie Eyelash.
Mm-hmm.
So I I'd like to have a little. I don't want to have a chat with them, but all the producers, all the video people who made the video, all the people who storyboarded the video, all the people who pushed it and distributed it, and I just want to maybe we could put a magnifying glass on what the heck they do with their time and why they want to put out this junk, hurting young girls.
Are you? Oh, that's interesting, man. Are you but don't you feel like sometimes art can be like a metaphor or like Star Wars, right?
Yeah, it can be a metaphor, but not the Billie Eilish stuff. That stuff's junk. I didn't like when that evil serpent came out of her mouth. Scared me. It freaked me out.
So you weren't a Marilyn Manson fan in the 90s?
Not really. No.
Yeah.
Were you?
I like the production of it.
That's funny you mentioned that, because in high school, when we finished out high school making those beats, there was the goth guy, and he loved Impulse Tracker too, and we related, and we talked about Impulse Tracker, and I know he was making some industrial stuff on Impulse Tracker, so I always think about him, and I'm always rooting for him, and stuff like that.
There's a great compilation called Operation Beatbox, and it's all industrial bands doing old school hip hop covers.
Okay.
And I like that record because it showed me that the instrumentation in rap and industrial music is very similar. The synths, the drum machines, you know what I mean? The arrangements, the loops. That's kind of how I got into hip hop, was by listening to that compilation a lot, then wanting to find out who Ice Cube was and who Cypress Hill were, and like it was a cool entry point for me. And I wanted to ask you, what got you into hip hop music? Why rap? Rappy?
So my first CD, I will give you the whole rundown. My first CD I bought when I was a boy, I was 14. I got the Blue Meanies, and it was their songs. They had all these cool songs like Smash the Magnavox and 4th of July, and they got these horns. It was like ska core. That was my first CD, and then I got Operation Ivy CD, and I loved Operation Ivy. Out come the wolves! Out come the wolves! I loved that CD so much. And then I got Lil Flip Underground Legend. I was like, wow, this guy's awesome. And then I got Lil Flip the Leprechaun, which is the CD he made before Underground Legend. And it was like, I can do that. If I spill drink on my clothes, I can do that. It doesn't matter. I'll buy some more. I can do that. Like, wow, that young man could do a lot of stuff. I'm going to buy the whole neighborhood bikes. You know Lil Flip gonna do what he likes. Like, wow. And then he's a leprechaun. I'm like, wow, why? This is awesome. And I got a kick out of the beats. The beats were awesome. They were, like, in my opinion, perfect. And I love those beats on the Leprechaun CD. And then there's a ton of beats. I can't remember some of them offhand, but it was a trip. That I would say the Lil Flip CDs got me into hip hop. And then my friends. I was kind of like the nerd of the group. But my friends, they were the gangsters, and they were always making these just gangster rap albums in my neighborhood.
Like more serious?
Very serious. Too serious. So I came in, I was something different, and they got a kick out of it. They're like, wow, this is some real stuff out of left field over here. So that's why I got to be working with Benjamin Petty, who's a very talented musician guy. Were
you a big Sir Mix-a-Lot fan living in Seattle?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Sir Mix-a-Lot, I think he's Auburn. Yeah, he was Auburn, Washington. I'm a huge Sir Mix-a-Lot fan. The Buttermilk Biscuits, and then of course all his like the big stuff. But I like Sir Mix-a-Lot too. He's a good business guy, and I know when ringtones started coming out and becoming popular. There was a story about him. He made a lot of money with the ringtones. And so I was like, wow, Rappy can follow suit and make a lot of money with ringtones. It's like 2003, 2004. And so I called up the same business that he had to do his ringtones. And they stole all my money that I sold. They stole all my sales. And then the business went bankrupt a month later.
So you never got paid?
No, I never got paid. It's not easy being an independent artist. I've given up, which is fine. And now I just release things at my own leisure. But when I see an independent artist make it, like you, and my hat goes off to you, and I'm just always rooting and praying for you guys, and just keep on keeping on. Your shows are really fun, and everyone has a good time when they're there. So it means a lot. I hadn't been to a show in a number of years when I saw your show.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So you came out, and it was really special to see you. It was up in Washington.
Yeah, it was special. It was.
And had you been to that venue before?
Never. I'm not like a guy who goes out at night. I'm a bum I sleep in the night, and I'm just being a hermit. Well, I've got my bubble. I'm in my bubble. So to come out at night was fun. And not only that, we've been doing it a lot more since we go into the show. We've been going out at night and really having a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I really appreciate your show. We appreciated, Katie and I appreciated the time you took to say hello and to talk. And the show was awesome. We had such a good time. I'm like, wow, this is what shows are like. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Let me ask you some specific questions about some of your jams.
Yes, sir.
If you're down.
I'm so down.
How did you come up with your Fish Stick song?
Oh my gosh. Well, it was an anti-album. I wanted to make a dumb album. It was the album, so we went down and we were like, what's the silliest song topics we could make? And so we were like, oh, let's make a song about fish sticks. Let's make a song about fanny packs. Let's make a song about all kind of things that are dumb. And we recorded that in Los Angeles in 2003. Fish sticks, fanny pack, and a whole slew of other songs. And
who produced those
some
jams?
guy with a Russian accent. So I was like, I was doing well at the time. I was working for a very popular kids book and making music for them, and I was getting paid very well. So I was
wait. What was the kids book?
It's Captain. It's a very huge book. It's called Captain Underpants. That I guess a lot of people like the book.
Whoa, let's talk about that. So you were working on music for that?
Yeah. I mean, I was with that entity for about 5 years, creating music and video. I produced them for their web stuff. Like Dave Pilkey, the author, he wanted some web content, and he also wanted extra content for the book. And so basically in 2003, 4, 5, 6, they were putting CD-ROMs on the back of books and selling them as one unit.
Oh.
And so it was kind of like a little fad. Oh, there's a CD-ROM on the back of the book. And then it has got songs, and you get to experience the book on a deeper level, like a musical level or on an animation level. So yeah, I produced all the music to the Captain Underpants Collector's Edition bonus CD. And it did quite well, and it was a nice little feather in my cap.
That's really cool. I can't believe I didn't know that.
That's okay.
You don't brag about it.
No, I don't, which is fine because I don't like to be so braggadocious. If you want, I can brag now though. If you want, you can.
Yeah, please.
You can find that if you type. You'd have to go on the YouTubes and type "Hooray for Captain Underpants." And
Okay.
Since then the entity is huge, and since then I think. Dave did. It's become a movie, and it's become all kind different Netflix series and all that. I'm not tied to that series in any way, shape, or form anymore. When I found out they were doing a movie, though, I tried to be like to make music for them, but they weren't interested.
And the Weird Al one is a new version. It's not a cover.
That's a new version. I actually heard that one. And I was very impressed. I thought Weird Al did an incredible job.
Was there a shift though, like where you were like, I'm not going to do songs about poo and genitalia?
Yeah, when just probably about when I started working and going to school for HVAC, I said I'm switching the game up. I'm only going to sing songs, and I'm going to have all these beautiful Russian young girls, and I'm going to take their and I'm going to sample their them, and they can be the chorus. So I'll always have a catchy chorus. And I'll just match the cadence and replace them with English lyrics, and that's my new formula.
I feel like that probably gives you a lot of peace.
Oh,
not trying to chase the same songs.
I do. I enjoy a lot of peace, and that's new to me. I was in a state of mental torment for many years, and to have that lifted slowly was very, very game changing.
The last thing we should talk about: how did you meet Brad from Phone Losers, who was an earlier guest on the MC Lars podcast?
He emailed me this weird, crazy stalker email. He was like, "Hey, Rappy," and it was just like this crazy. I'm like, "Who the heck is this guy?" And I'm like, and then I looked into it. I was Googled his name. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the prank guy. And then I emailed him back. I was like, wow, that's awesome. Thanks for hitting me up, man. That's cool. You got me. He tricked me, and I fell for it. And then we've been friends ever since. And he's can't say enough nice things about Brad. He's a very unique and humble and cool guy.
Was he pretending he wasn't him? Or
yeah, he was pretending he wasn't him. I'd have to pull up the exact email, but it was very weird. It was super weird and creepy on purpose. He was trying to he was gauging me. He was testing me, see how I'd respond.
All right.
Brad is a tester. He likes to test people, and
he's a social engineer.
Yeah.
He was at the Portland show like the day after I saw you, and he we talked about you, how much we both love you. And I love that he is just so prodigious with his output. Yeah. That's a dude who he's so disciplined with it, and he's made it his job.
Right.
Pranking people.
Right. Incredible.
Takes so much work.
Yeah. He works so hard at the PLA. I was laughing about one of his calls the other day. He was in an apartment. He's an apartment tenant. And then he's calling the apartment manager, and he says, "Oh, there's a lot of leaks. I put a pool in the living room here, and we're experiencing a lot of leaks. I think it's leaking down the guys under us." "Oh my gosh, we're gonna send a maintenance guy immediately." No, you don't want to do that. I'm not gonna let him in." What? Oh, I don't really feel like it.
I think his talent is that he keeps. One of his main talents is he keeps his character so freaking calm, right?
Yeah.
He's so that's what sells it.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, it's Brad. Yeah. Roy Gerbell.
Yeah.
Josh, I said that was going to be my last question, but I got more questions for you.
No problem.
We'll wrap it up shortly. Where did Rappy McRapperson come from?
I was thinking of a bad name for a rapper. I was thinking of what's the worst rap name one could have, and this is in 2001.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, Rappy McRapperson is the worst rap name ever.
Because people wonder, are you Irish? Are you Scottish?
Yeah. Yeah, they do all the time.
But it sticks in your head. Okay, so for all the fans, new and old, where, other than YouTube, where can they follow your most recent exploits?
Oh, wow. Okay, YouTube. And then they can go also, I think, on SoundCloud, I want to say. I did an album from 2015. But yeah, the other one was Life in Ghost World. That's I just took the melodies, the tunes. And
okay.
It's heavy on sound effects.
And that was released as Ghost Rappy.
Yes, yeah.
What inspired the name change?
I felt like a ghost.
Interesting.
Yeah.
In that you were reinventing yourself?
No, I felt like a ghost because I didn't feel like a person. I didn't feel like my spirit. I didn't feel like my spirit was on Earth anymore.
In what way?
It traveled through pain. Through pain, my spirit left my body, and then eventually, because I went to HVAC school, it came down back into my body again, and now I'm not a ghost anymore.
So now you're no longer Ghost Rappy.
Nope. Yahoo!
Yoo-hoo.
Ghost Rappy was a bum.
I would go on record to say that I've loved this interview because it's one of the weirdest podcasts that I've done. Because I know you're I interview a lot of rappers, but I feel like talking to you, I'm like interviewing an artist who's you're on another plane, and it's confusing and beautiful. And I'm also half the time I haven't known what to say because talking to you is not like talking to the typical rapper. I think that's awesome, dude. So good.
I appreciate that.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Have you felt like my questions have been too serious and that have I misinterpreted anything?
I love it. Lars, I'm your biggest fan, so I thought the questions were perfect. And I thank you. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak my mind.
Okay, well, no, I appreciate you. What would you want to, what are any closing thoughts you want to leave your fans, new and old?
Wow. Well, I do want to give a closing thought. If they're looking for something to do, if they're confused or They don't know what the heck they're going to do with their livelihoods, like their work, or they don't know what they're doing, or they think they're too old to go back to school, or they're just... I want to tell any struggling person right now or hurting person what I did. Go to HVAC, go to technical college and get your HVAC certifications, and enter that 2-year or 1.5-year program, and come out on the other side. You're going to be a transformed person. You can learn a little bit of electrical. You learn a lot of practical knowledge. You learn a little bit of plumbing. And you're going to learn how a system operates, and you're going to learn how systems work. And it's incredible.
The beauty in that process, right?
Oh, tons. Yes, a lot of beauty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And how when you're sitting in a room, all of the amazing calculations and work that have gone to make it a comfortable, quiet place. Right. Well lit, with plumbing. It's amazing, right?
Oh my gosh. It's multiple systems doing wonderful things to keep us comfy.
Rappy, I feel like writing songs is like solving problems in engineering. Like there's a lot of engineering in rapping and melodies and choruses and rhymes, and so patterns. And so that makes sense, man, that you've taken your skills, your creativity, and kind of pivoted to a different realm where you're still able to be creative, but now it's unfettered output.
Yes. So I'll take a broken unit, a broken machine. Let's say it's a conveyor belt. And then it's a very simple conveyor belt. And I'll troubleshoot the unit and find out what the heck's going wrong with it, and then make my repairs. And it's very much like songwriting. Yeah.
Every day is an adventure.
Are you friends with all the touring independent artists like MC Chris and MC Front a Lot?
I'm friends definitely with Front a Lot.
Do you guys go on tour? Are you guys going to go on tour again?
I'm in February. I'm going out with one nerdcore rapper and then a few other people of other genres. Yeah. So I'm waiting to announce that. But the last few tours have been with Front a Lot, Schaefer, and Mega Ran. And those have been good.
Awesome. I went on. So this is a Mega Ran and yours song. It is so cool. Like the video for it. You guys are in airplanes, abandoned airplanes.
Oh yeah, 1984.
Like, wow. And then there's another artist, and he appears on a cell phone. I don't know. And,
B. Dolan.
Oh, B. Dolan. Okay. And oh man, the video is so good. It was so impressive.
Thanks, Rappy.
I was like, wow. And I don't want you to have to spill any proprietary information, so I won't ask. But I was wondering, where the heck that place was. I was like, wow.
Yeah, no, I'll talk about it. It was near Phoenix. Mega Ran lives in Phoenix, and his friend is a film professor at a school down there. So it was this abandoned Air Force base that we had to get permission from like the local Native American charter because it's on Native American land.
Really?
And there's a lot of weird graffiti in the plains, and it's kind of stuff people go and party, and it was a really cool find.
Oh my god!
I kind of like we had to climb into the airplanes, and it didn't feel particularly safe, but I think that's what made it fun.
Wow! Wow!
I appreciate you checking that flavor out.
Yeah, I showed it to my supervisor at my job, and I was like, this, when I went to your show that day, I was like, I got to tell you, this guy's my buddy, man. This guy is. Look how cool this guy is.
That is sweet, Rappy.
He was impressed.
Thank
he was
you.
Like, wow, you know this guy? I'm like, yep, I certainly do.
Do they know about your prodigious output?
They found out maybe 2 years ago, and I've been getting hell for it ever since.
I bet they're proud of you because you're an underground legend, and you've been at this forever.
Yeah, maybe it's one of the reasons I haven't gotten fired yet. I'm not a very good mechanic.
The YouTube is youtube.com/Rappy McRapperson, right? User/Rappy McRapperson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The SoundCloud is soundcloud.com/McRapperson. And it's all on Spotify. And and this has been tight. Right. I appreciate you, Rappy.
You as well, Lars.
Let's introduce TikTok one more time.
Yeah.
Tell us about the song like briefly, and we'll play it.
Sure. It's a battle between heaven and hell. The devil has rose and is walking the earth, and we wait for God to come down from the sky and fight the devil and throw him back into hell.
Amen. Here we go. TikTok by Rappy McRapperson.
Yeah.
Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life.
It's a spiritual battle, a warfare between good and evil, right versus wrong.
Behold,
There's a place in hell where an angel fell, then rose through a swell in a poison well. Evil spells reign supreme in the world of man, but the time's coming soon, cause the weight breaks down.
Тикают часы,
behold,
тикают часы, отмеряя шаг. Тик-так, тикают часы, тик-так.
Hey, you big dummies, you're listening to a brand new Rappy McRapperson song. Time is a truth that would never deceive, and the time's coming sooner than you would believe. My time is a plant that I water and grow. The time is my friend, the time is your foe.
Тик-так, тикают часы,
repent,
тикают часы, отмеряя шаг. Тик-так, тикают часы,
behold,
тикают часы, тик-так.
and I will give unto every one of you according to your works.
In the kingdom of Christ, a vast army awaits. Soldiers sharpen their blades and work out by the gates. Every tick, every tock is a prayer from my clock, and it smacks on the gates like a knock, 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 tick tock. Oh, I love my clock. It's a long walk to the pearly gates. I'm knock, 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 tick tock. Don't you love the clock? Don't you love the clock? Tick tock.
To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth saving he that receiveth it.
Тик-так, тикают часы,
Repent,
тикают часы, отмеряя шаг. Тик-так, тикают часы, тикают часы, тик-так. Тикают часы, тик-так. Тикают часы, тик-так.
A very unique man, Rappy McRapperson. That was TikTok. Be sure to check out his stuff, support what he's doing. He's very creative. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for this week's Patreon Larson of the Week, we got Otis Julius. You may recognize him as Big O, who was on the podcast, one of my first guests, a guy I've toured with a lot. He tells a story about a show we played in El Paso that was like on near a college, but it was during a time when all the college students were away for winter break or something. So he talks about backstage memories. So this is the MC Lars Patreon Lars of the week. My man, Otis Julius.
Hey Lars, it's Miles. Hey, I just want to say you've had some really impressive and cool guests on the podcast, and I'm really happy that things are going this well for you. It's awesome. I'm really enjoying it. That being said, I remember this one time we were on tour, and the routing was weird. I think it was like a Sunday or Monday night, and it was like in this, it's like a tourist town, but like off season. And the show was kind of just like a flop. That happens every now and then. And I just would like never forget how like, I don't know, things were kind of down. Morale wasn't probably the best. And you kind of came into the green room before the doors opened and just really invested into me and my guys and kind of just spent time and hung out and just kind of, you know, like brightened our spirits, brightened our day. And like, I'll never forget that. That meant a lot to me. And it was so cool how like, this could have been some off time for you, that you were trying to connect with people back home, or you could have been down about the situation. And, no, you just invested into me and made my night, made my week. And I really appreciate that. You know, I got to watch you, like, for a really long time, just investing into people, caring about what they're doing. You may not remember everybody's name, but you know something about everybody, and it just blows my mind how good your memory is and how much time you take to, like, learn about these people. And I think it's really cool, and I appreciate that a lot. So thank you. I want to keep doing what you're doing. You're doing awesome stuff. I'm really honored to have been able to be a small part of what you're doing, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Miles. That's a very great story, and I appreciate you. And I hope you're doing well, man. Hope to see you soon. Thank you all for listening to this interview with Rappy McRapperson. Next week, we got Michael Kill, North Carolina's finest, talking about the rap game. We talk about our memories of ICP and Anticon and all the underground indie rap that inspired us and all our South by Southwest stories. It's a great interview. So tune in next week. It's almost December, which means it's almost the end of the decade, which means time is passing by, which means we're blessed to be here. All right, tune in next week. Thanks a lot. I'm MC Lars. Oh, I got the Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2 songs coming this month on patreon.com/MC Lars. Don't miss it. All right, peace. Thanks, everyone.